Hi everyone. Everyone calls me Cece, and I created a vlog on my experience going to Dr. Christian Concepcion. He's located in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. I went to him November 2024. The reason why I have not even updated the vlog yet is because YouTube has a really nasty way in big 2025 where everybody is exposed to everything anyway, because hello, we have smartphones and the internet is vast. YouTube for some reason is still extremely limited in what they want content creators to talk about. So they have so many restrictions, and because I was extremely transparent in what I recorded of my journey, I held nothing back. I was butt-ass naked. It was just me and my bare skin. My girls was out, everything was out. So I have been having a really tough time uploading everything to YouTube because I kind of lost patience trying to figure out how to blur my goodies out, and not even just lost patience, but like lost interest, because why y'all restricting me? Like, if I want to show my body and give people insight and show people what it is like, what the process is like, and what you look like underneath the faja, why y'all don't just let me? But any which way, the reason that I am recording this video is because I want to leave a review on my amazing experience at a recovery house called Island Barber Recovery House. They are located in Santo Domingo on the east side, and from Christian Concepcion, and I guess like that downtown main area of Santo Domingo, they're about 25 minutes driving. And the only reason I did not mind that journey is because the recovery house was so bomb. So I did not care if it took me 10 hours to get to, 10 hours is OD. But I would not have cared if it took any longer, because my recovery house was just chef's kiss. And another reason I'm recording this is because I want to remind you dolls that the recovery house is equally as important as the doctor that you choose. The first things first, the problem I notice a lot of girls have, and guys who come to do their surgery, is that they bring exactly what the doctor quotes them, which is not something that you should be doing. Because imagine now you bring exactly what your surgical costs are and you don't bring enough for the medication. Like, there's literally people who do that. They don't bring enough for the medication. They don't bring enough for massages. They don't bring enough for transportation. They don't bring enough for even being able to communicate on their cell phones while they're out and about. So for me, I went to Claro. Claro was maybe like $10, but it lasted me about 15 days, which was amazing. But if you're bringing, for example, $6,000 that the doctor quotes you for your surgery, you won't even have a phone when you're outside to call people and let people know what's going on with you when you're not in a Wi-Fi zone. There's people that do opt to stay at a recovery house, but because they only brought enough for the doctor, they don't even have money to pay for the recovery house. So now you have this banging body, and after surgery, they're kicking you out to where? The streets? Like, that's crazy to me. So first things first, make sure you have enough money for your procedure and everything that comes with your procedure. Now that that's out the way, I want you to do your research by thoroughly examining the recovery house. In life, there's pros and cons to everything. There are trade-offs to everything. Sometimes you may have your heart set on going to a particular recovery house because they're like 5 minutes from the surgeon that you're going to. But when you weigh your options and you look at everything else about the recovery house, it may not be favorable. So you have to do your research. And the way that I did my research is I basically turned into a private investigator. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes, okay? Like, I had my magnifying glass and I looked and examined everything. First, I started with examining the recovery house's social media. I went on the Island Barbie Recovery House Instagram. That's where I realized they were more active. I looked in their tagged photos tab. I read every single comment. And after I read every single comment, I made sure, and I clicked their page to make sure that they're not a troll or like a friend or family member of the recovery house owner or a staff member leaving a good review. I made sure that I looked at every comment and who commented it. I also found the owner's personal page. Thank God it was public. But I found her personal page and I went through her personal page to make sure that she had good character. She was somebody that their views aligned with mine. And to me, that's important, because the recovery house doesn't run itself. It's ran by people, and everybody has a different personality type. And for me, if I don't vibe with you, if I don't mesh with you, if our views don't align, if I feel in any way that your character is not matching my character and my beliefs, yeah, it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. So luckily and thankfully for both of us, right? Because she got my business and I got to stay somewhere that I loved. So luckily for both of us, I felt the vibe and I contacted her and I just let her know, like, look, this is what I require in a recovery house. Can you deliver or not? Simple as that. And I was really, really amazed, because not only did the owner, Neji, who is, I gotta take a moment to really praise this woman. She is a wonderful, beautiful woman of faith, honor. If she says she's going to do something, she does it. And she spoke so much life into me. And I'm kind of feeling warm and like I'm about to cry right now, because you don't know how special and beautiful and wonderful and how valuable it is to have someone just speak life into you after you have gone through such a major surgery like we do as dolls wanting a BBL. A lot of people think that the BBL is just a simple, basic cosmetic surgery, but it's actually more complicated, and it puts a lot of strain and pressure on your body, and you have to be strong, focused on the overall goal, which is to make sure that you are following the doctor's orders, you're doing what you have to do so that you can get the results that you want and the surgery won't be in vain. And that is something that I really had a hard time with, because I kind of was disillusioned. I went into the process going off of social media. I'm looking at these baddies and I'm like, these girls look amazing. And you follow their journey and you know that they went to DR because the surgeons either posted them, or very few of them were transparent and kind enough to share who they went to. And so when you realize they went to Dominican Republic, where lipo BBL is way more aggressive, and then you see them and 2 weeks later they're back in the club, they have their personal hookah, they are driving the boat, they are shaking hella ass, and you think it's easy, you think it's simple, until you go under and you experience the procedure for yourself. And for me, on my journey of becoming a BBL baddie, it did not go that way. It did not go that way for me. 2 weeks post-op, I was in the hospital, and I'm not blaming the doctor. It wasn't his fault. He did an amazing job and he was very thorough. I'm damn sure not blaming myself, because all my labs were impeccable. My hemoglobin was super high. I think it was like a 13. And just everything, all the labs, all the x-rays were perfect. So I'm not blaming myself. I ended up in the hospital because Even though on paper everything was perfect, I ended up getting a lot of inflammation in my lower back that prevented me from doing a lot of basic things. For example, I couldn't even walk 8 feet to the bathroom by myself. I needed assistance via a walker and the nurse. So, moral of that tangent was, do not look at somebody else's experience and think that's going to be yours. It could be, right? It could be, but for me, on my round one journey, that was not the case. And now to bring it back to what I was talking about, when it comes to choosing a recovery home, I am thankful that I chose Island Barbie Recovery because the staff were so attentive. The owner, even though she is not on site, super communicative, super caring, loving, positive, great energy, and just on top of everything pertaining to your care. Going back now, I want to go back now because I did go on a tangent. Another really helpful thing that you want to make sure you do is, remember I told you guys I was basically stalking the business Instagram. I did come across a couple dolls who were actually patients that stayed at the recovery house. And I contacted one of the dolls. She stayed there maybe like 3 months before I was going. Actually, August, September. So 4 months. She stayed there 4 months before I went. And when I tell you, I'm so grateful to her because I asked her a million questions and she was probably annoyed, but she was so transparent about her stay. Her review helped me a lot. She, along with the owner, were big parts of why I put my deposit for Island Barbie Recovery House. I'm not gonna say her name, but thank you. I did thank her tremendously because she didn't even have to respond to me. But the fact that she did, I have to appreciate that. So that was the last little tip that I wanted to share with you about researching recovery homes. Now remember what I was saying earlier about my experience post-op being tougher than maybe the average person's. And really and truly, I hate to say the average person because you never know. You know, everybody's body reacts differently. So there really isn't an average post-op experience. But what I want to get to are the additional pros of Island Barbie Recovery House. What I loved is that they're a small boutique recovery house and they really only accept about 4 dolls at a time. When I stayed there, it was just me and one other doll, so the experience was even more personalized. And I love that I didn't have to beg them for anything. I have heard so many horror stories about recovery homes. I'm talking about disgusting food, like food that you wouldn't even give a mangy dog off the street. Food that is stale, not enough food. You not getting your medication on time, or worse, giving you the wrong medication. I've heard things like people being so out of it after the anesthesia, because it does take a while for the anesthesia to release itself from your body. And so can you imagine being in pain, being out of it from the anesthesia, possibly even out of it from the pain medications, and then having to be on high alert, wondering, did my nurse steal from me? There are people that have gotten their money, their belongings stolen from them, and then gaslighted when they brought it up. That's not something you want to deal with when you are recovering. And so that's why I really urge you, because I've heard terrible things about a lot of recovery homes that are actually popular. You go on their page, they have 100,000 followers, they have doctors coming and visiting the recovery homes, and saying good things about the recovery homes. But you have to remember, those doctors are probably only there for like 20 minutes tops. Or the recovery homes owners are like their friends or something like that. So they don't know on a day-to-day basis, 24 hours a day, what it is really like as a patient to stay in those recovery homes. So don't be fooled by the social media. All of that is doctored up. No pun intended. You have to talk to the people that actually stay there, and you have to take everything with a grain of salt also. Pack some
Sacks, you these wipes.
Another thing that I loved about Island Barbie is that they're so attentive to you and they keep you on track with your meals. Freaking threw up myself. I'm so mad.
Okay, so this is what the chef make for me for my upset stomach. I have plantain, I have pieces of chicken, I have vegetables, potato, pumpkin, carrot, broccoli. Muy delicioso. The pharmacy bought electrolytes, Pepto-Bismol, Imodium.
They keep you on track with staying hydrated. When I tell you, I would wake up and they had a mini fridge next to my bed, and my fridge was always stocked with 8 bottles a day. And that's something that they do put in the quote. What they say in the quote is what I actually got.
Watermelon juice.
I was extremely hydrated. It was really good. I loved, oh my God, the way they make their pancakes are, oh my God, it's like full of cinnamon. I love the oatmeal. They give you fresh tea. I developed a nasty cold. They had this thing with like, they had this drink with like onions and honey and lemon, and they gave me that. That was not on the menu.
I developed a cough and the nurse just brought me onion, garlic, honey, lemon. This concoction is supposed to help with the cough so that I should be good to go on surgery day.
If you tell them that you have allergies or don't like specific things, they don't give it to you. They find a substitute. Most recovery houses do not do that. They do not personalize the menu. What you see on that menu is what they're gonna give you. So with all that good treatment that I got out there, and with all the love and the positivity and the good energy, when I tell you, I did not want to leave my recovery house. I did not want to leave Island Barbie. Like, I swear to God, I was just so taken care of. I felt like a queen. You know, I literally felt like a queen. I'm thinking about my experience now, and I just am so in love. And honestly, if I could have stayed at Island Barbie for another month, I would have stayed. No problem. I actually didn't even want to leave. To be honest, if I could have moved in permanently, if I could have got my visa and moved into Island Barbie, I would have. And I remember one time, one of the nurses, I would not eat, and she stood there and fed me. Like, that is like, come on. I'm not getting paid for this. Nobody is paying me. Nobody told me to do this. It's been on my heart to do it months ago. But like I said, I had so many complications personally and with YouTube, uploading videos of my journey. So yeah, this is why we were delayed. Their information is in the description of this video. And I don't know what more to say. I'm not trying to convince anybody. And in fact, if you decide not to go to Island Barbie, no matter what or where you choose to go, I do want you to just do your research. That's the biggest takeaway. Do your research and remember that the post-op is just as important as the pre-op and the actual surgery. So know what you are doing. This procedure is not a joke. Like I said, you see the girls, they be outside after 2 weeks in a skin tight outfit, shaking ass. You think that is how it's gonna go for you? It might. I've heard things about the girls that don't take time to recover. They booty be hard, the fibrosis be fibrosising. Yo, like the bodies look tea on Instagram, but it don't be given in real life. When you using these girls as wish pictures and you trying to backtrack as to who they went to and how many rounds they had, you find out they had 8 rounds of lipo and 4 BBLs all in the space of 2 years. You realize that they're not taking time to recover properly. If it works for them, it works for them. But for me and my body, I wasn't trying to do that. I don't even want to go for round 2 because the pain is not for me. For me, it's one and done, and I'm glad that my doctor understood the assignment the first time. But again, that goes with the fact that I did my research. So you do the same. You know who you are. That's my favorite song from Moana. If you ever need a pick-me-up, just Google Moana, Know Who You Are. That song is like an affirmation. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it as that. You know who you are. You know what your goals are. Don't be thirsty for no BBL so where you just laying on anybody's table and then you don't have a recovery house set up. Be safe and be smart.